For most of human history, the falling of night meant one thing: darkness. A world reduced to flickers, shadows stretching under candlelight. Days ended early because we hadn't yet learned how to push back the night. But today, we command light with a whisper, a single voice, a tap on a phone, and our spaces glow with customized, energy-optimized brilliance. How did we get here? This is the story of human illumination, from ancient fires to AI-driven smart bulbs, from waxy wicks to wireless networks. It's not just a journey of technology, but of imagination, survival, and our relationship with the night, because to light the dark has always been more than convenience. It's been power, progress, and the promise of control over nature. And now, we are starting to wonder what happens when our lights get smarter than us. Before glass bulbs, before copper wires, before homes glowed with invisible currents, there was only one source of light after sunset: fire. And our story begins not with invention, but with survival. For early humans, light was life. Fire meant warmth, protection, and visibility. Around its flame, food was cooked, predators were kept at bay, and stories were told. The first flicker of illumination wasn't just physical, it was cultural. The earliest known lamps date back over 15,000 years. Simple hollowed stones or shells filled with animal fat and a moss wick. These primitive oil lamps, found in Paleolithic caves, were humanity's first attempt to capture fire in a controlled, portable form. Not to start fire each night, but to keep it burning. Illumination became something to carry in ancient civilizations. Light was more than utility, it carried profound symbolic weight. For the Egyptians, light was divine. The sun god Ra traveled through the sky by day and the underworld by night. Torches in tombs weren't just practical, they were spiritual guides through eternity. In Mesopotamia, oil lamps made of clay were standard household items by 3000 BC, illuminating the interior walls of homes and temples alike. The Greeks and Romans refined the oil lamp, a metal or ceramic reservoir with a floating wick, standardizing the form still recognizable today. Temples and public spaces glowed with these tiny fires. Light was now divorced from the flame's full bulk. It became directed, designed, but still, every night required effort. Around 100 AD, candles emerged as the next major chapter. Early versions were made by rolling papyrus and dipping it in tallow or beeswax. Romans used them not only for illumination, but also for timing. With marked candles measuring hours as they burned, candles spread throughout the ancient world. And in religious life, they took on powerful metaphors. Light as truth, spirit, hope. A dripping flame became a ritual, and eventually, a symbol of remembrance, a cultural memory that endures even in our electric age. By the Middle Ages, Chandler's professional candle makers served towns with colonies of wax production. Beeswax, far superior to smoky tallow, was reserved for churches and elites. Light, for most people, remained a privilege. The 18th century brought a greasy innovation: whale oil. Prized for its clean, bright burn, it fueled lamps in homes, streets, and lighthouses. In port cities and burgeoning industrial towns, whale oil-fed lanterns extended both productivity and leisure into the night. The Agand lamp, invented in 1780, used a glass chimney and circular wick for a brighter, steadier flame, a precursor to modern light fixtures. Street lighting became a reality. Cities like Paris and London experimented with lampposts. Urban lightscapes were born, but whale oil came at an immense environmental and human cost. Whaling became one of the first globally industrialized extractive economies, proving that lighting technology could have enormous ecological impact. Long before coal or carbon. By the early 1800s, natural gas arrived. First used in European theaters and streetlights, gas lamps lit public walkways and, eventually, private homes. Britain constructed entire underground networks of gas lines, the first energy grid designed, not for heat or water, but illumination. People could now walk through nighttime. Cities that glowed, but gaslight had limitations. It required maintenance, valves, matches. It was dangerous, hot, and prone to leaks. Still, it was more reliable than candlelight or whale oil. More importantly, gaslight shifted a societal paradigm. Light became infrastructure. Rather than an object you placed, it became a system you tapped into, a foreshadowing of the electric age to come. From primitive fires in caves to gas-fed networks in capital cities, The pursuit of light had evolved from temporarily banishing darkness to redefining how long the day could last. But something new was now glowing on the horizon, an idea so radical, it would dematerialize fire itself. The story of illumination was about to become electrified. The dream of artificial light, clean, safe, bright, and always available, had haunted inventors for centuries. But it wasn't until the 19th century that humanity unlocked the energy capable of breaking its ancient bond with flame. The spark, both metaphorical and literal, was electricity. And, while the light bulb became the icon, the journey to get there was harder, messier, and more contested than most realize. The story begins in 1800, when Alessandro Volta invented the voltaic pile, the first true battery. For the first time, a continuous electric current was possible, and, where there's current, there can be light. By 1809, English scientist Humphrey Davy used a powerful battery to create an electric arc, forming the arc lamp. It was dazzling, intense, far too bright and dangerous for home use, but a revelation. Electricity could produce illumination without flame. Over the next decades, arc lamps were refined for industrial and public spaces, lighthouses, theaters, and eventually, major city squares. Paris, London, and New York experimented with brilliant but unwieldy electric light. But arc light was brute force, functional, not yet personal. The real breakthrough would come from those racing to miniaturize light. Just as Gutenberg had miniaturized print, contrary to popular belief, Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb. Between 1840 and 1870, inventors like Warren Delarue UK and Joseph Swan UK created working incandescent prototypes, filaments that glowed when electricity passed through them, protected from burnout by glass vacuum enclosures. But these early bulbs burned out quickly, used fragile materials, and had no viable electric infrastructure to support them. It was Thomas Edison who changed the game by tackling three problems at once. A filament material that lasted. He used carbonized bamboo, offering hundreds of hours of light. A stable, sealed vacuum bulb that could be mass-produced. A complete electrical distribution system to power it. Wires, switches, generators, fuses. In 1879, Edison publicly demonstrated his lamp. In 1882, he opened the first electric power station in New York City, lighting a neighborhood grid in Lower Manhattan. What Edison truly invented wasn't the bulb. He invented the business of light. While Edison's success spread quickly, it was based on direct current DC, which struggled to transmit over long distances. Enter Nikola Tesla and George Westinghouse, who championed alternating current AC, capable of powering whole cities with fewer losses. This began the famous War of the Currents, a brutal and public battle that included demonstrations of death by electric chair to smear AC, fierce patent wars, and national debates on standards for the future. Ultimately, AC power won, enabling widespread electric lighting, countrywide power grids, and a new era of flexible illumination. By the start of the 20th century, cities from Boston to Budapest were glowing. Electric street lamps were revolutionary, but indoor lighting, safe, on-demand, and silent, transformed daily life. Painted walls no longer blackened with soot. Homes extended their living hours well past sundown. Women, who often worked under dangerous candlelight or gas lamps, gained safer domestic conditions. Literacy and evening leisure grew. Architecture even changed. Rooms no longer needed to orbit windows and fireplaces. The humble bulb became the centerpiece of the modern home. And it spread rapidly. 1901, the New York Times building is lit fully by electric light. 1925, over 50% of American homes have electricity. 1930s-40s, electric light becomes a symbol of industrial progress and a weapon of war during blackout raids in WWII. By the mid-20th century, electric light had evolved from wonder to invisible default. Technologies expanded. Fluorescent lamps in factories and schools, halogen lights in cars and spotlights, neon lighting in signage and entertainment. But the bulb remained affordable, accessible, universal. It became so common, societies stopped thinking about it until energy crises in the 1970s forced a reconsideration of efficiency, cost, and ecology. And once again, innovation switched back on. The spark had become a system, the bulb, a beacon of the modern age. But the next frontier wasn't just about making light, it was about making it smarter. The invention of the incandescent bulb was not an endpoint, it was ignition. From the faint glow of carbon filaments, the 20th century would witness a cascade of progress that redefined how the world worked, moved, and even thought. The story of light became the story of human advancement itself, a timeline of ingenuity, stretching from filament to photon. In the early 1880s, gas lamps still dominated cities, streets flickered with open flames, and homes relied on oil or candles. But by the 1890s, electricity began to conquer urban life. Municipal lighting systems spread through London, New York, and Berlin. The electric street lamp, developed by innovators like Charles Brush, and arc systems pioneered by Davy and Yablokov, bathed major boulevards in a white glow that symbolized progress. The city that never sleeps was no longer metaphorical, it was literal. Factories operated through the night, and human productivity detached from the cycle of the sun. By the turn of the century, the incandescent bulb had matured. Metal filaments replaced fragile carbon. In 1904, the tungsten filament, developed by Alexander Just and Franjo Hahnemann, became the new standard, providing brighter light and longer life. General Electric soon mass-produced tungsten bulbs, making them cheaper and sturdier. Electricity became not a luxury, but a utility. Networks expanded like arteries through nations, carrying not just current but possibility. The 1920s and 1930s 1930s introduced a new revolution, fluorescent lighting. Scientists found that by exciting gases like mercury vapor, they could create light far more efficient than Edison's bulb. George Inman and Edmund Germer's innovations led to commercial fluorescent tubes that glowed with diffuse brilliance, ideal for factories, schools, and offices. For the first time, light was not just visible but engineered for function. Bright, efficient, purpose-built. During World War II, lighting technology became strategic. Airfields, ships, and bunkers relied on rugged electric systems. After the war, neon and fluorescent lights defined the new urban landscape. From Tokyo's glittering avenues to Times Square's sleepless blaze, light became identity. Commercial, cultural, modern. The post-war boom saw lighting as both art and utility. Architects like Le Corbusier and Frank Lloyd Wright used illumination as structure itself. It shaped how humanity saw not only its spaces, but its own aspirations. The 1960s brought a quieter but profound transformation. The birth of the light-emitting, or LED, first developed by Nick Hallenyak Jr. in 1962. The LED emitted a faint red light. It was humble, small, almost invisible to the average person. Yet it heralded the dawn of solid-state lighting, a future where electrons, not filaments, would create light. Over the next decades, LEDs evolved from indicator dots on calculators to the dominant source of illumination worldwide. They consumed less power, produced less heat, and lasted exponentially longer. The 1980s and 1990s witnessed the rise of compact fluorescent lamps. These spiral-shaped bulbs were marketed as green alternatives to traditional incandescents. Governments encouraged adoption, energy labels appeared on packaging, and environmental awareness began to link lighting to global sustainability. Though criticized for harsh color tones and slow warm-up, CFLs represented a crucial bridge between the old and the new. Then came the 21st century, the age of smart, digital, and adaptive light. LEDs now glowed in every shade of the spectrum, controlled by circuits and sensors. Companies like Philips, Cree, and Osram reimagined illumination not as a fixture but as a network. Bulbs could dim automatically, mimic sunlight, sync with circadian rhythms, and even respond to voice commands. The incandescent bulb, once a symbol of progress, became an antique curiosity. Nations began banning its production entirely, replacing it with sustainable alternatives. Meanwhile, light ventured beyond utility. Fiber optics revolutionized communication, sending pulses of light through glass to transmit the world's data. Lasers, once science fiction, became the cornerstone of surgery, manufacturing, and entertainment. Humanity's relationship with light expanded from visibility to information. Illumination was no longer about seeing, it was about connecting dots. By the 2010s, the Internet of Things transformed lighting again. Smart bulbs could pair with phones, adapt to moods, and integrate with entire home ecosystems. In cities, adaptive streetlights responded to traffic, weather, and crime patterns. In hospitals, light therapy treated depression and sleep disorders. In space, astronauts used specially calibrated LEDs to simulate daylight aboard the International Space Station. The mastery of light had become planetary and beyond. From the earliest filaments to intelligent illumination, every breakthrough shared one truth: light evolved alongside civilization itself. Each phase, fire, filament, fluorescence, diode, was more than invention. It was philosophy, a declaration that darkness, however deep, would never define us. By the mid-20th century, light was no longer a marvel, it was an expectation. Humanity had achieved what once seemed divine, the power to summon daylight at will. The revolution of illumination had truly arrived, and its effects rippled across every layer of society. The tipping point came when electricity became cheap, reliable, and universal. Post-war reconstruction demanded productivity, and factories needed illumination around the clock. Cities expanded vertically, and neon advertisements turned nightscapes into luminous theaters of commerce. Homes adopted electric lighting as both necessity and ornament, a mark of progress that separated the modern world from its shadowed past. By the 1950s, more than half the globe's urban population lived under electric light. Lighting transformed industry. The shift to 24-hour manufacturing and global logistics would have been impossible without stable, efficient illumination. From textile mills to automobile plants, productivity soared under constant brightness. Even warfare changed. Radar screens, navigation systems, and airfield lighting extended operations beyond daylight, turning night into a second battlefield. Culture followed suit. Light reshaped how humans gathered, worked, and imagined. Cinemas glowed in the dark. Night sports became common, and art galleries reinvented ambience through spotlights and design. The entertainment industry, from television studios to Broadway, was literally born under the bulb. Society adapted psychologically as well. Nightlife became identity. The modern city was a place that refused to sleep. Governments embraced this transformation. Electrification projects in Asia, Africa, and Latin America became symbols of nation building. To light a village was to announce its arrival in the modern world. The World Bank and national grids made light for all a developmental goal. By the 1970s, darkness was no longer the natural state, it was inequality made visible. But the revolution carried deeper implications. Constant illumination altered human circadian rhythms, urban ecosystems, even our view of the stars. Light pollution dimmed the Milky Way for billions, and the line between day and night blurred irreversibly. Still, progress marched forward. The glowing world had become the emblem of civilization's triumph, proof that human innovation could reshape nature itself. From candles and oil to a planet bathed in electric light, illumination had crossed from necessity into philosophy. We no longer feared the dark, we had erased it. The dawn of the 21st century transformed light into information. What was once static, switched on or off, became dynamic, adaptive, data-driven, and personal. The light bulb evolved from a utility into an interface, reflecting the digital revolution shaping the modern world. In the 2000s, LEDs matured from novelty to necessity. Breakthroughs in semiconductor physics made them efficient, affordable, and available in full color. Shuji Nakamura's work on the blue LED, which later earned a Nobel Prize, unlocked the final piece of the puzzle, enabling bright, white light through color blending. This discovery didn't just change lighting, it redefined global energy policy. Governments across Europe, Asia, and the Americas launched programs to phase out incandescent bulbs, citing dramatic reductions in power consumption. For the first time, sustainability became synonymous with illumination. Light diversified across every domain. In architecture, LED strips sculpted modern skylines, glowing edges tracing glass towers from Dubai to Shanghai. In medicine, specialized wavelengths promoted healing and improved diagnostics. In agriculture, vertical farms used programmable light spectra to control crop growth with surgical precision. Illumination had become an ecosystem of innovation, no longer confined to vision, but extending to biology, behavior, and emotion. The 2010s ushered in the era of smart light. Companies like Philips Hue, LIFX, and Nanoleaf transformed bulbs into connected devices, controlled via smartphones or voice assistants. These systems learned habits, adjusted color temperatures to match circadian rhythms, and even synchronized with music or films. Offices adopted tunable lighting to enhance focus and well-being. Hospitals simulated natural daylight cycles to reduce patient stress. In this new world, light didn't just brighten, it listened, learned, and adapted. Global leaders emerged in different sectors. Philips and Osram dominated consumer and industrial markets, while emerging startups explored Li-Fi, using light to transmit data at speeds far beyond Wi-Fi. In developing regions, solar-powered LEDs brought safe illumination to millions of households previously dependent on kerosene. For the first time in history, light became nearly universal, clean, renewable, and accessible. Yet this progress wasn't without cost. Light pollution reached critical levels, washing out night skies for nearly a third of humanity. The question shifted from how do we create more light, to how do we control it wisely. Designers and urban planners now balance brightness with darkness, efficiency with ecology. Illumination has matured into a dialogue between innovation and restraint. Today, the story of light stands at an equilibrium, one foot in science, the other in philosophy. From humble filaments to intelligent photons, illumination reflects not only how far technology has come, but how intimately it shapes the human condition. Light, once a fragile flicker in a cave, has become one of humanity's defining achievements. Its history mirrors our collective ascent, from survival to sophistication, from mystery to mastery. The world before electric light was bound by rhythm. Sunrise and sunset dictated labor, travel, and rest. After its arrival, time itself expanded. Cities awoke at midnight. Knowledge grew under lamps that never dimmed. Humanity extended its reach not just through technology, but through time itself. The impact of illumination is visible in every sphere of life. Economically, electric light accelerated industrial productivity and global trade. Socially, it democratized education, allowing students to study long after dark. Culturally, it reshaped how we perceive beauty, safety, and emotion. The glow of a city skyline became the modern symbol of hope. Even science owes its greatest leaps to light, from the microscope's lens to the laser beam. Illumination continues to reveal what once hid in shadow. More than a tool, light became a language. It guides ships and aircraft, encodes fiber optic messages, paints canvases, and defines moods. It is the foundation of art, architecture, cinema, and communication. Without light, there would be no photography, no screens, no digital world as we know it. Yet its legacy also carries reflection. The same brilliance that united continents has dimmed the stars for generations. Astronomers speak of the lost night sky, a poetic reminder that progress often asks for balance. Still, few inventions have touched every human life so intimately, across every culture and century. The story of illumination endures because it is inseparable from civilization itself. Light did not simply brighten the world, it revealed what we could become when we refused to live in darkness. If history teaches one thing, it's that light never stands still. From fire to photons, every leap in illumination has redefined what humanity considers possible. And even now, on the threshold of a new era, light continues to evolve faster, smarter, and more intertwined with our digital lives than ever before. The frontier of lighting is no longer about visibility, it's about intelligence. Artificial intelligence and adaptive sensors are turning illumination into an active participant in human environments. Smart cities already use responsive streetlights that brighten when pedestrians pass and dim when roads empty, saving energy while enhancing safety. In homes, next-generation systems adjust brightness and color temperature automatically, harmonizing with human circadian rhythms to support better sleep and mental health. Light, once static, is becoming sentient. Emerging materials promise another revolution. Quantum dots, nanophosphors, and organic LEDs, OLEDs, are pushing efficiency and design to new extremes. Ultra-thin panels that bend, glow, or even integrate into fabrics. Future architecture may not require separate light fixtures at all. The walls themselves could radiate adjustable illumination. Meanwhile, Li-Fi data transmission through light could turn every lamp into a high-speed internet access point, transforming communication through invisible frequencies. Beyond Earth, light defines exploration. On the Moon, Mars, and deep space missions, LEDs serve as sustainable systems for plant growth and habitat simulation. In these environments, illumination is not just comfort, it's survival. As we extend our reach into the cosmos, the same story that began with a campfire continues in the glow of interplanetary cabins. Yet one question remains timeless: how much light is enough? Future generations may redefine the balance, seeking harmony between illumination and darkness, between technology and nature. For perhaps true progress lies not in banishing night entirely, but in learning to share it wisely. In the end, the future of light is the future of us, intelligent, adaptive, and ever seeking to illuminate the unknown. From the first spark in a cave to the quiet glow of a smart bulb, the story of illumination is a story of transformation, of humanity's enduring refusal to accept darkness as our destiny. Light has guided our evolution, powered our industries, inspired our art, and now it listens and learns alongside us. It is both symbol and substance, the thread that connects every era of progress. Today, each time we switch on a lamp, we're tapping into millennia of discovery, risk, and wonder. From candlelight to circuitry, illumination has always meant one thing: the pursuit of understanding. And as we now design light that heals, teaches, and communicates, the journey continues, not just outward, but inward, revealing who we are and what we seek to become. If this story gave you a new appreciation for something as simple as light, like this video, share it with others. Comment below with your thoughts. Subscribe for more deep dive documentaries that explore how innovation shapes our world. Because every idea, like every flame, begins with a spark.